Hey there, it's Shayna from Hello Teacher Lady, and this video will walk you through the process of customizing your new Digital Interactive Notebook templates. So one of the really cool things about these templates is that the layout is embedded. I'll go into a little bit more detail on what that means, but basically when you click on layout, you can sort of navigate between all of the tabs, and it makes it really easy from an end user perspective. All of this magic happens in the slide master, so we're going to come up to the top where it says slide and then select edit master. If you're working in PowerPoint, you're going to come up to the top where it says View and then select Slide Master. It's important to note that any changes you make in the Slide Master will be embedded into the slide theme. This enables teachers and students to access the slides by clicking on Layout, as I showed you just a moment ago, rather than having to duplicate the slides on their own. This is a huge advantage to having an embedded layout. You can see that these are all of the slides that are included in the layout. And just once again, real quick, I'm going to come over here so you can see how easy it is to toggle between the slides in the regular view. You can see that users can easily add new slides and toggle between the layouts, again, without having to copy and paste. So let's go back into the master view and we will add some content and do a little bit of customization. So I'm going to start with just adding a simple text box. This is a text box that I do not want to be edited, so it's going to actually lock it into place once I go back to the editing view. So any text that you type or objects that you place in the master slides will be locked into place once you return to the editing view. So let's go back to the editing view and you can see that now this text box has been locked into place. I can't actually type in it, but I could type in this text box because that is a different type of text box. So that's just something important to note. We'll talk a little bit more about adding text boxes that students can type into, but for now, let's take a look at customizing the tabs. So let's say I want to resize the tabs or maybe even add an extra tab. So we'll click on the first tab and then I'm going to hold down the Shift key while I select the remaining tabs. This is going to allow me to resize them all together, which is a pretty big time saver. And then I'm just going to do a simple copy and paste to get my next tab over here. Another really cool keyboard shortcut is Control Shift and then down arrow or up arrow, depending on if you want to layer the tabs above or below the page. So again, that's Control Shift and then the up or the down arrow. All right, now let's talk colors. The colors are embedded in the theme, so it's actually really easy to change them all at once. So we'll select colors at the top and then select the Choose Theme Color dropdown. And you can see that each of the colors has an assigned job, like Accent 1, Accent 2, Accent 3. So watch what happens when I move the slider over. You can see that everything that was previously assigned Accent 1 is now a different color. And you can see that it is like this for all of the slides. So that's pretty cool and a huge time saver. You can also use the default colors down here or the hex code of any custom color up here. I have a ton of color palette hex codes in the included color palette guide, so take a look at that if you need some inspiration on color palettes. Let's try that again with the actual notebook pages. That is set at text and background 4. So if you want to change the color of the pages, select text and background 4, and then you can see once again that it will change the colors of all of the slides at once. If you're working in PowerPoint, select colors and then create new theme colors. If you need to add or delete any of the slides, you can do that very easily from the slide thumbnails over here. Just right click on the slide and let's say I want to duplicate this slide, just select Duplicate Layout. I can also rename the slide by clicking on Rename up here. I recommend naming the slide something that matches the content of the page, and it's important to note that this will show up on the end user's perspective when you click on the layout. Okay, so now let's add some additional content. I'm actually just going to delete this placeholder text box and I'm going to insert my own text box right up at the top here. So anything I type into this box will stay locked into the slide when I exit the master view. Now these text boxes here that say like first level, second level, these are your basic placeholder text boxes. I'm going to duplicate this so I kind of have like a 2-column thing going on here. And when I go back into the regular view, you'll see that students will be able to type into the placeholder text boxes, but the reader's response, that's going to stay static. So just for good measure, I'm going to play around a little bit here to show you what this looks like in the master view and then what it looks like in the editing view. Okay, so obviously I could spend a whole lot more time on this, but let's go back to the editing view and I'm going to add in a new slide. Now the slide that I just added won't immediately show up, so I'm going to right click on my new slide and select Apply Layout. Here you can see all of my notebook pages along with the titles, and up at the very top there is the new reading response page that I just added. So the alignment of the text boxes is a little bit funky, but you get the idea. I can type in both of these placeholder text boxes, whereas the reader's response text and the headers, what the text says and what I think, those are both static as well. And if I want to make any formatting changes, which I do, I'm going to come right back to the master, and you can see that this text is once again editable. I can change the formatting and really make it look the way that I want it to. All right, now let's talk about how to protect your slides. If you are just using these slides with students, it is totally fine to just keep everything in the master view. You don't really need to perform this next step. However, if you are using these slides commercially, especially if you are using additional clip art, you will need to do this extra step to protect your work. All right, so I'm just kind of adding a couple things to this page here to give you an idea of what this next step looks like. So I'm going to go back into the editing view and I'll find the slide that I just made the changes to. And I want to just kind of give this a title. So I'll just say ideas and I'll make it a little bit bigger so that it fits the space. Okay, and now you can see again that I can't edit this from the main screen. I'm going to go back into the master real quick just to make it a little bit bigger because why not? I'm also going to right click and change the background here. So instead of this gray, I will change it to just another color so that you can see again that it is possible to change the background here. I don't really like the way that looks, so I'm going to change it back one more time. Maybe one more time. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay, so now what I need to do to protect my slides, if I'm going to use this as a commercial product, I'm going to come up here to where it says File and then Download. And I'm going to download this as an image file and then reinsert it as a background in the master slides. In PowerPoint, you can actually do this all at once, but in Google Slides, you have to do each slide individually. So it's a little bit time consuming, but now that I have my image, I'm going to come back to the master. I actually recommend making a copy of your slide deck before you do this next step, but basically what you're going to do is delete everything in the master and insert your saved image as a background. So once you've added your image as the background, you will see that it is no longer editable in the master view. Admittedly, this step is a little bit time consuming, but it is necessary to protect your work if you are using this product commercially. Remember, if you want to add a text box that students can type into, just go back into the master and select Insert Placeholder, and then I'm going to select Body Text Placeholder here. So basically at this point, everything else is secure, and again, if I wanted to add this placeholder text box, you can see that it says like this first level, second level. That's how you know it is a placeholder text box and not a regular text box. Here's another quick tip about saving slides as images when you have different text boxes. This cover here already has the slide link set up with regular text boxes, so I need to move those before I save the slide. Otherwise, they'll show up on my saved image. I can keep the placeholder text boxes though, because those won't show up when I save. So now I have my image and I'm going to go back into the master to add it as the background. Again, I need to remove everything except what I want to remain editable. So basically everything except these placeholder text boxes here. If you accidentally delete one of the text boxes, just Ctrl-Z to undo. So now you can see that everything is fully locked into place except the placeholder text boxes. If your new changes didn't apply in the editing view, just add a new slide and you should be good to go. All right, now the last thing we're going to go over today is the internal links. You may notice that I have internal links set up on the very first slide, but not on any of the other slides. That is actually to save time because when we are editing the links, we only want to have to edit them on the one slide, and then we're just going to copy and paste them onto all of the other slides. So to change the text of the tab, I'm going to click on the text and select Edit Link. Then under where it says text, I'm going to type in whatever I want my tab to say and click Apply. Then I'm just going to repeat this process for the remainder of my tabs. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to stop there, but first I'm going to get rid of this underline that kind of pops up when you first make a link. I just don't really like the way that it looks. And now to copy all of these tabs at once, I'm going to hold down the Shift key to select all of the tabs and Ctrl-C to copy. Then I will Ctrl-V to paste on all of the other slides. So from experience, I can say that you really should wait until the very end to do this, because if you decide to change the text of the tab or any of the fonts, you're going to have to do this whole thing over again. So just wait until the very end and you'll be good to go. Now we can check our tabs to make sure that they work. So you should be able to click on any of these tabs and it will take you to the corresponding slide. If you are using PowerPoint, you won't actually be able to test your links in the editing view. You'll have to actually go into presentation mode. That is one kind of annoying thing about PowerPoint and why I generally default to using Google Slides for interactive products. We can take a look at the presentation mode, but if you're making an interactive notebook, students can't actually type in this view. They'll have to do that in the editing view, which is again why Google Slides is honestly best for interactive notebooks. Now, real quick, if you are someone who prefers to do your design work in PowerPoint, just upload that PowerPoint to Google Drive, select Open as Google Slides, and then you'll see it's open in Google Slides, but it's still technically a PowerPoint, so just go over to File, and then Save as Google Slides. And this will actually open it and save it fully as a Google Slides file. So a real quick way to convert your PowerPoints in Google Drive. Okay, let's go back to the links for one more thing. If you need to create any additional internal links, this is just a transparent shape that I've layered over the tabs. And I'm just going to right mouse click and then select link. And then if you select slides in this presentation, you can select the slide that you want it to link to. In PowerPoint, the process is pretty much the same. Right click and then select hyperlink. And then over here, you're going to select places in this document, select your slide, and then click OK. Okay, so I think that about covers all the major things that I wanted to share with you. There are step-by-step instructions with pictures and animated GIFs in the product folder if you'd like to take a look at that as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I look forward to seeing what you create with these interactive notebook templates.